Iron Man is one of the most beloved characters in the MCU, with a huge range of different suits at his disposal. Here are some of our favorite models. He is not just a big man in a suit of armor, he is Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, perhaps the most popular superhero in film right now. It was Iron Man who was primarily responsible for ushering a new golden age for superhero cinema. While Mr. Stark couldn't have done that without his trusty Iron Man armor, he has proven time and again that he's quite something even without it. Apart from being the biggest brain in the MCU, he is or was also the de facto leader of the Avengers. His greatest invention, however, remains his Legion of Iron Man suits. Among them, 10 stand out as the most popular or coolest. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in the video. Top 10 coolest Iron Man suits in the MCU. Starting up first is Mark 1. The main granddaddy of all Iron Man armor, Tony Stark built in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Of course, he did it at a gunpoint. Shows how much you can do under stress. Let's also not discredit the fact that it looks like a homage to the old Iron Man armor of the comic books. This suit goes to show just how far Stark has come, and it is far cry from what he was able to achieve later on. Take note of the highly invulnerable ice lights on the helmet and the lack of computer. The Mark 1 was completely mechanical and had no digital interface. Regardless, it did the most important job of all, the Iron Man armors. It saved Tony Stark and changed his whole life. Number 9. Mark 3. Now we are getting somewhere. The Mark 3 is the first official serviceable Iron Man suit, which was built as a labor of love in the engineering lab. It can fly, withstand high altitude, and has enough weapons to make whole armies drool. It was also the first suit to adopt the gold and red color scheme, faithful to the comic books Iron Man. Such an iconic and nostalgic Iron Man armor deserves to be higher, right? Well, based on how advanced or functional it was, we are not sure if Stark would have even want to use this armor. It's worn like a traditional medieval armor and takes forever to suit up with. While it smells better than the Mark 1, both of which appeared in 2008 Iron Man, it's still a bit impractical, of course. From this point on, Stark kept improving his designs though. Number 8. Mark 5. The Mark 5 first appeared in Iron Man 2 and marks the first time that an Iron Man suit became portable. For those who missed that movie, the Mark 5 fits in a suitcase, or rather it is the suitcase. This made Tony Stark's life a lot easier since from this point, as he was able to become Iron Man anywhere. It still wasn't perfect, of course. The Mark 5, for all its flashy portability, appears to be less resistant or less durable to damage compared to the earlier suits, which have thicker plates. Additionally, the Mark 5 has fewer combat capabilities than the heavier suits, since it had to be lighter for hand carrying in a suitcase. Number 7. JRXL 1000, also known as the War Machine. The JRXL 1000 variable threat response battle suit is also known as the War Machine Armor Mark 1. While it belongs to Stark's best friend Cole James Rhodes, it's actually a stolen Iron Man Mark II armor. Upon bringing it to the US military and another weapons manufacturer, it was outfitted with better armor and conventional weapons. You could say that the War Machine was Iron Man on steroids, seeing that it had better and more explosive tools. Its most iconic weapon, however, is the black mounted minigun. It has an AI and targeting system of its own and can eliminate threats with 360-degree coverage. Number 6. The Mark XLIV, aka Hulkbuster. As it turns out, there is no limit to what Tony Stark can do with engineering. The Hulkbuster is proof of that, demonstrating that even something as destructive as the Hulk also has a synthetic match. It first appeared in Avengers Age of Ultron. There is no question what the Hulkbuster is for. Its purpose is taking down the Hulk, or keeping him busy at the very least. So how did it fare against the big angry Mini? It was a success. The Hulkbuster proved capable of handling the Hulk at his most destructive moment by the skin of Tony's teeth. Mark XLII. It wasn't until Iron Man 3 that Tony was able to create a prototype of one of his most portable Iron Man armors. The Mark XLII, or the 42nd Iron Man armor, is an experimental wonder whose problems were ironed out throughout the third movie. It's a complete and fully capable Iron Man suit, which is also compact. Tony made it so that each part is modular with its own jet engine. This makes each part capable of flying and attaching to him separately until he fully armored himself up. The Mark XLII is also known as the first fully operable Iron Man suit that doesn't need an actual user inside. That's something Stark used again as shown in Spider-Man Homecoming. Mark XLIX, aka Hulkbuster 2.0. The Hulkbuster was a great invention, and it could be a shame if it was only utilized once. Thankfully, Avengers Infinity War saw another use for the Hulkbuster, This time, instead of fighting the Hulk, it helped him, or Bruce Banner rather, because the Hulk was missing in action. It's worth noting that it wasn't Stark who built the Hulkbuster 2.0. The Mark XLIX was a modified Hulkbuster courtesy of Wakanda and Bruce Banner. Like the original Hulkbuster, it also fared exceptionally well. With it, Banner was able to defeat and kill Cole Obsidian, who was Thanos' most physically powerful minion. Number 3, Mark L, also known as Mark 50. Speaking of Iron Man armors in Infinity War, Tony Stark also does not shy away from upgrades. His Mark L or Mark 50 Iron Man armor featured a huge step up in technology over any other suits he made prior. Instead of the clunky and cumbersome armor plates, the Mark L uses nanite or nanoparticles, which can deploy all over Stark's body and manifest into an Iron Man suit. This makes it similar to Black Panther's suit. While some might argue that it barely looks like armor, it certainly served its purpose well. It had all the capabilities of the previous Iron Man suits and then some. Not to mention, the Mark 50 was also more convenient than any other predecessor. On a final note, we can recall Stark was able to use it to wound Thanos in the Infinity Stones and all. He was the only Avenger able to inflict the kind of damage against the Mad Titan. A word of warning, the next 2 Iron Man armors are potential spoilers for those who have not seen Avengers Endgame, which was aired 2 years ago. Let's hop into it. Number 2, Rescue Armor Model 1, aka Mark 1616. We all know that Pepper Potts is a Stark soulmate in the MCU. They have been together through thick and thin. One could wonder why Stark never made her any armor, even for emergency protective purposes. Before this gets rectified in Avengers Endgame, when Tony gave Pepper her very own Iron Man suit as an anniversary gift, it's called the Rescue Armor Model 1 or Mark 1616. Fun fact, 1616 when converted into letters spell PP, which means Pepper Potts initially. It's not just a mere gift, of course. Pepper used it for the final battle against Thanos in Endgame. It appears to be a total geeky fan service moment which ought to put a smile on Iron Man fan's face. It's smaller and more slender than Stark's suit, but still equally awesome and stylish with its blue and purple coloring. And finally, Mark LXXXV, also known as Mark 85. The last Iron Man armor we'll ever see. Stark's final armor or Iron Man suit is the Mark 85, which featured in Avengers Endgame. It appears to be a more metallic and bulkier version of the Mark 50. What does set it apart from Mark 50 aside from appearance and upgrades is that it was also built to control and withstand the Infinity Stones. It's basically a portable Infinity Gauntlet, the miracle of Stark's engineering. Sadly, Tony died in this armor after using the Infinity Stones to snap Thanos and his army out of existence. His heroic sacrifice saved not only the Earth but also the entire universe. Such a feat would not have been possible without the Mark 50 worn by the valiant Tony Stark. So what do you think about the armor listed in this video? Do you enjoy them or do you have your own opinions? So please comment down in this comment section below and tell me which is your favorite armor. Until then, I'll upload another video. Please do want to check my other videos out and subscribe and like to the channel to help grow the channel and keep me motivated for posting better content. Till another one is uploaded by me, people. See you next time. Peace out.